Okay, ladies and gents, just want to go over how to go about wiring your system to add on a speaker panel lighting if you're interested in that, uh, putting the rings around your speakers, LED strips. Very easy to add on to a system that already has an undercab lighting system set up. And also you can tap off of that and create your back box lighting too. Just to kind of go over some of the things I had to deal with my system. First of all, I'm using the Zebs set up inside my cabinet, so it already had the header that's required for the undercab lighting. And also, me and Steve had discussed, Steve at Zebs, adding on the lighting system the way we've got it set up here. He was going to do that for me as far as giving me the additional lighting for the back and the speaker panel. And we were also going to do a custom toy topper, but his schedule never allowed him to complete that. So I went ahead and did those myself. So my system has a couple little extra things for those, but that's not required to do this. As long as you've got a source of undercab lighting, which is what came with the Zebs system, or if you have your own, you can easily tap into this using connector cables that are available on Amazon. So I'm not going to take my system apart to show you all that because it's a pain in the butt to get the display out, but we will be removing the panel, the speaker panel, so I can kind of give you some details there, because that's really the hardest part of this, is getting the speakers set up. They've got spacers in them that have the lighting ring attached. So what you're basically going to do, and you'll see it when I take it apart, is you're going to have a ring that is between the speaker and the panel itself. So it gives you about a I think maybe 5/8 of an inch. I'll give you the exact part that was used on that was purchased from Amazon. All these parts can be purchased from Amazon. I don't think I went outside the box for outside the box for anything. And it takes the gameplay aspect, as you can see from some of my gameplay videos. It really turns the table into something special. The machine itself was great as it was, or so I thought, with the Zeb stuff and the feedback. I love it. It's great. But the extra lighting effects, and then, of course, these are bright enough to make a difference during the day, but at night, and we are in daylight with windows open, just no sun, but you can see that the lighting is bright enough that it makes a difference at any time you play. I will also walk you through one of my little pet peeves I've got, which is the one spot, which was the first ring I did, that I didn't put a LED right at the seam where the wiring enters the actual cavity. I'll make sure that you know exactly what to do with the good side. So yours will look like that and not like that. And I'm not changing it, even though I really should, because every time I turn the machine on, it worries the crap out of me. All right, so quickly let's kind of go through what would be required to do this. So you're going to have a header somewhere inside your system that your LED strips are coming from the computer or whatever your feedback system is you're using, or however you've got it wired. So for me, it's going to be the Zebs system. What you can do is, or what you need to do, is buy splitters and basically split that feed into multiple channels. So your system's probably set up, if you don't have this in place, where you would only have a single connector. Let's get under here and see if we can see it. Yeah, actually, here's a connector right here. So, all right. So, the connector coming out of the system, I've just run it through one of the holes in the cabinet, and this is where the light strip actually plugs in. I went ahead and used the rest of the strip. Did not cut any of the ends off the strip, so you can see kind of the way it's just hanging here. This has been up for 3 years. I think I bought it in 2017, the Zeb system. These are the lights that he gave me. The adhesive worked so well on these, I have not had to put any retainer clips to hold this in place. This is all still stuck up by the original adhesive, just starting to droop a little bit there. But I've got a solution for that you'll see in the back box. So this is the entire roll, because here's the other end of it. And this is the type of end that you're going to be using to connect to. Basically, everything I've seen, 99% of this stuff is gender neutral, and they all come with gender benders. So they all come as female connectors, and you've got this one has the insert in it to turn it into a male. So if you wanted to take this system and just go ahead and tap in, you can tap in right here with a extension cord to get you back to your back box. Or you could split it at the source, which would be here. And again, my system came wired with a secondary cable because we had a plan to do something different. And so I am tapped in on the inside to a dedicated cable for the back box. Does not change anything. All the lighting it stays the same. It's not a dual channel setup. It's still going to be the same color. So whatever color that you're showing on the underside, you're also going to see in your speaker panel and in the back box lighting. So this gives you your two spots to kind of decide what you want to do in a normal setup. Let's put that back just so the wire doesn't want to unhook or unstick, is a better term. All right, one other quick thing we should probably look at here is you notice there's an arrow on the connector. This is going to be your saving grace throughout this project. Black wire, it's always going to go with the arrow. Whenever you're doing, as far as if you're creating custom connections, make sure you're black to black. That way your strips will light. If they're reversed, they won't light. That comes into play later, like I said, when you're creating a custom setup like I had to do on the back box. And basically what I did is I just tested every segment as I put it together to make sure that I had it right. All right, since I'm going to have to turn the game off just because of the Vichet to get the speaker panel out, we're going to skip that for now, and I'll edit in another video into that point, or just tack one onto the end for how to set up the speaker panel. But back to our story. Primary focus here is the splitting of the cable. So you're going to split your source with a Y cable. Basically, it'll be a single feed in, comes out to 2. Plug your strip for the bottom undercab LEDs into one end. Plug an extension cable in. That'll run up into your back box. So depending on how your wiring is set up, you're going to have to figure out the length. Once that's in place, that means you're going to have a header or an end inside your back box. At that point, what we're looking to do is we got to source out 2 more sources for the lighting. You can have one source that's going to be shared for your back box, or excuse me, for the speaker panel. Also have a second one for the back box backlighting. So extension cable comes to here. What you want to do at this point is buy another Y. So we're at splitter number 2, and that gives us a feed to go to the speakers and a feed that will allow you to feed the back panel, or the back of the back box, excuse me. All right, coming to the speaker setup, since we've got our one feed that's been split that's came from the table itself into the back box, we want to split that one more time so we can put one feed for each speaker. Then at that point, you'll plug in your ring to each side of that last splitter. And then lastly, you would feed either with an extension cord, depending on how you got your system set up, or you can just simply wire right into the last feed that's available that you've created for the back box lighting. So, all right, let's review. We split here with a Y inside the table itself. We run an extension up into the back box. We then split that to give us a speaker panel feed that will require another split to give us our 2 speakers. And then the other end of that split, the first split in the back box, is our source for the back box lighting. And that may need to be extended depending on how you're doing it. I think I have a small extension in to get me to the top since I didn't want to drill. And then at that point, connected my ring of LEDs with a manually assembled hand-built matrix. That was a pain to do, but I can walk you through that too, using these 90-degree corners and cutting strips and creating my own little setup here. Looks like a heating element out of an oven or something.